Before we begin tonight, I need you to think about the last time you spent an hour trying to explain yourself to somebody, trying to explain your heart, your intentions, your choices, your boundaries, your silence. Mm. Now, let me ask you something. Did they actually want to understand you, or were they simply waiting for their turn to disagree? Because those are two very different conversations. Stay with me tonight, because I think somebody has been exhausting themselves trying to be understood by people who already decided they weren't going to understand them. Welcome to the quiet storm where all you need to do is listen. Take a breath with me first. Inhale and exhale. Because tonight, we're talking about the freedom that comes when you stop trying to convince everyone that you're a good person. Some of the loudest battles are the ones that happen inside your mind. Let's be honest. How many nights have you replayed conversations thinking, I should have said this. I should have explained myself better. I should have defended myself. I wish they understood what I meant. Mm, that one already reached somebody. Because some of you have spent years trying to control how other people see you. And that's an impossible job. Here's the truth that changed my perspective. Some people don't misunderstand you because you explained it poorly. They misunderstand you because it supports the version of you they've already chosen to believe. Sit with that. Sometimes people hear your words, and sometimes they hear what fits the story they've already created in their mind. And no amount of explaining changes someone who isn't listening to understand. You can explain your heart to someone committed to misunderstanding you, and they'll still leave saying, you never explained yourself. Not because you didn't, because understanding was never their goal. Winning was, being right was, protecting their own perspective was. That's a painful realization. Because you walk away thinking, if I had just found the right words. But sometimes there are no right words for someone who has already made up their mind. Some people only accept explanations that make them comfortable. Think about that. If your truth requires them to take accountability, they may reject it. If your boundary inconveniences them, they may call you selfish. If your healing changes your availability, they may call you different. And if your growth means they lose access, they may call you cold. Your explanation was never the issue. The change was. The cost of constantly explaining yourself. Let's go deeper. Every time you over-explain, you're often looking for something deeper than agreement. You're looking for permission to have boundaries, permission to have a different choice, permission to disappoint someone, permission to protect your peace. But hear me clearly tonight. You don't need permission to live your own life. You don't need approval to choose what is healthy for you. And that's a lesson that takes many people years to learn. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response. Not because you've given up, because you finally realize not every conversation deserves your energy. There comes a point where peace becomes more valuable than proving a point. You stop responding to every accusation. You stop correcting every rumor. You stop defending every decision. Not because you don't care, because you've learned something important. People who genuinely care about you will usually ask before they assume. Let your life speak. This is one of the hardest things to practice, but one of the most freeing. Instead of trying to convince everyone who you are, be who you are. Instead of arguing with every option, keep living. Instead of chasing understanding, keep growing. Because over time, consistency speaks louder than an explanation ever will. The quietest people are often the ones who finally found peace. Have you ever noticed that? People who used to argue every point, defend every decision, explain every choice, sometimes they become quiet. Not because they lost their voice, because they stopped giving it to people who never valued it. Mm, that line deserves to linger. There's a difference between being silent because you're afraid and being silent because you found peace. One is fear, the other is freedom. Now breathe with me. Inhale and exhale. And just sit with this truth tonight. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone deserves your energy. Some people will misunderstand you. Some people will judge you. Some people will create stories about you that have nothing to do with who you really are. Let them. Because your life is not meant to be spent chasing understanding from people committed to misunderstanding you. The people who truly know your heart won't require endless explanations. So this weekend, put down the burden of trying to make everybody understand. Choose peace over proving. Choose growth over arguing. Choose quiet over chaos. Because sometimes the greatest freedom you'll ever experience is realizing that you don't have to explain yourself to people who were never listening in the first place. Thank you for tuning in to The Quiet Storm. Make sure you give this video a like, leave me a comment down below, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.